From the Bronx to the Bodega Brovas to the Rickey Smiley Morning Show and Dish Nation, and now When We Speak. I'll be speaking with Headkrack.
When we speak.
Molten Nahiwat from Alaska. Death and life are in the power of the tongue.
When we speak.
There's a game called CeeLo. Whenever you roll a 4, 5, 6, they call it a headkrack, which means an automatic win. Like everything I've ever done in my life, I've just been so blessed and just so lucky to where like I automatically always get to that next level. Like even with radio, like my game plan was to do an overnight show so I can keep my day job. And then like my first radio gig was doing like a primetime show from 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. You know what I'm saying? And then we're gonna do mornings now. All right, then cool. Maybe we'll be on. Maybe we'll become #1 in Dallas. We actually became #1 in many cities, and like that spread out to like 70 different markets. And then even with my music, man, like my music takes me places I have never thought I would ever like be able to like see myself. You know what I'm saying? Like me and my group, we've rocked like Germany, we've rocked Amsterdam, Ireland, the UK. You know what I'm saying? And just like in different places around the U.S., man. So like like Headkrack is a blessing. I'm always blessed with that 4, 5, 6.
Okay. Now, in your artistry, what do you classify yourself as?
I mean, all around, I'm an entertainer. I mean, deep down to the root in my heart, I'm a hip-hop artist. Okay. But, I'm also a media personality who happens to be on a radio show. And then I also have a passion for, for comedy. Not necessarily in the stand-up fashion, but improvisational. Where, you take suggestions for the crowd or just hosting or just making observations and just, gelling things together. So I'm just an all-around hip-hop entertainer, you know what I'm saying? I don't want to be pigeonholed like, rapper or radio guy. I also act, too. Yeah. And, I do so many things sometimes I forget about the things that I do. Like this trailer came out the other day with this movie that I'm in with Lebron James, and I was like, oh snap, yeah, I did that. Yeah, that happened. It's coming out. Look out for that. It's called First Impressions.
Okay. But just don't plug that in real quick.
Just don't shameless plug. You know what I'm saying? But I do a little bit of it all, man, because I love the arts and I love entertaining and I love just engaging people and just taking them away from whatever they're dealing with in their regular life, through the form of entertainment.
Okay. Now, one thing I definitely wanted to ask you was, I must admit, I'm not a big hip-hop fan. And it's been a long time since the last time I spoke with someone who did any form of hip-hop on the show. Right. But when I immediately said, one thing you should ask him is, since I'm not the big hip-hop fan, what is the difference between a rapper, a hip-hop artist, and maybe an MC?
Okay. A rapper, I would say, is just all about just rhymes. Like they're doing whatever's hot for the moment. They're chasing radio sound. It's just rap. I'm putting words together. Cat, hat, house, mouse, whatever. Okay. A hip hop artist is somebody who's almost like a painter, a classical painter. Like, hey, people may get it, people may not get it. I'm just gonna do it. I'm gonna represent myself and just throw it out there. And if people gravitate towards it, cool. Okay. MC is kind of like a mixture of all of the above. They know how to do the right songs for the right crowd at the right minute, but they also focus heavily on the artistry of MCing and the artistry of being a vocal hip hop representative, man. So I would actually say that I'm probably a good blend of the hip hop artist and the MC. I don't rap just for the sake of rapping, what I'm saying, with the stuff that I'm doing like solo and the stuff that I'm doing with my group, I'm actually trying to change. We're trying to change the world. Okay. You know what I'm saying? So gotcha. I mean, this may mean you may not necessarily hear it on your favorite radio station, but when you come to the shows, you're gonna leave in a better mood than you were in before you got there. Okay. Guaranteed.
Okay. Well, you are such a special guest for me today, so I decided to solicit some questions. Okay. From different people. It's maybe someone I know or people who watch the show. Okay. And so here's the first question for you.
Go for it.
Hey, Headkrack. My question is, what has been the funniest or most memorable thing to happen to you on air or in concert?
I would have to say the funniest thing that probably ever happened to me on air. There's a guy on the show named Rock T. And if you know Rock T, just real clean-cut guy. never curses, just like, I mean, he's like a young Cliff Huxtable. So one day, you know, usually we tape our live, sometimes we tape our live commercials, but me personally, I always do mine live. And for whatever reason, he thought we were taping. So I was doing an ad for Apple one time. I was like, yo, I'm here to tell you about the new iPod Nano. And Rock T grabs the mic, man, that's some bush. Like live on the radio. And it was just like, no, it's not. And then, like, you know, and then we just had to play it off and go. And it was just such a random moment because like Rock T is just such a clean cut dude who like seldomly curses. You would never expect him to do that, especially on the air. So it was just kind of like, you know, the improv skills had to kick in, you know what I'm saying? And just like, you know, like luckily, like, you know, the boss was listening that day and nobody got in trouble, man. But that was just like a funny, just like, you're like, yo, of all the times you would do that, like, wow, like when the mics are on, G, like, but it was funny. As far as like at a show, the funniest thing that's ever happened at a show, I mean, I think it's the things that happen before we hit the stage, like especially like when I'm doing the group stuff with my group, the Bodega Brothers, like, you know, the white guy, Travi, he will like cough up blood and then go on stage. Wow. like I don't know if he gets like bad ulcers or whatnot, but like you would have no idea that anything is wrong. You know what I'm saying? Like while we're on stage. And it's just like every show is an event. Like I can't even like really single out one thing. Oh, you know what? We were in not Dublin, we was in Cork, Ireland. And this just old dude came in. He was like 70-something, and like he just heard the music and he just came in. So we were rocking at a pub, and I do this thing at every show where like, you know, I take a few suggestions from the crowd and, you know, bust some freestyles based off of those suggestions, and so I did a little altered it a little bit that night. I was like, you know what? I believe that tonight I could turn any one of you people into the crowd into an MC. So like, so the key was, I would set up the line like, you know, if you're cool, that means you're not a dog. If you're Muslim, then you don't eat pork. That's the logical answer. Right. He would always say something just completely far off to the right. Like every single time. We did it like 6 times. About like the 7th time he got it. And it was fun, and the crowd just like erupted in hysteria. And then like we took pictures with him that night, and like he bought a CD, and like I think I think he's our oldest fan. Really? You know what I'm saying? So it's just always a fun, organic experience, man, every time we out there on the road. Okay, well, speaking of freestyling. Yes. I'm curious to know, with freestyling, how do you really nurture the style of, correct me if I'm wrong, but freestyling is basically where you rhyme or rap or whatever you all call it off the top of your head, pretty much, right? So how do you nurture that, considering that it's spontaneous? Basically, I mean, you kind of always have to be a little bit ahead of yourself. It's almost like a movie. You know, when one scene's happening, but your brain is already on the next scene. Like, you know, like, okay, how am I going to get there using the first line? You know what I'm saying? So, like, you're kind of always 2 lines ahead of yourselves. Now, there's some MCs out there that be like, well, freestyle is a verse that's not appearing on any song, but now originally the real original term of freestyle was like, yo, you're freestyling off the top of your head. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're making up as you go, or you're improvising. You know, so that, you know, so that's what that is. Yeah, you spoke about radio and on the air and all this other stuff, because we did not state that you're actually from the Rickey Smiley Morning Show. One of the things you're from. Anyway. Yeah. So I want to know what, for those who are not familiar with his show, what do you bring to the show? We know that Ricky's a comedian. Are you a comedian? Nah, I mean, some people think I am, but nah, by no stretch of the imagination or imagination, if you will. I'm not a comedian. I'm just a dude who makes observations, and people laugh when I do it sometimes, and then I go back into my corner, you know what I mean? But like, but what I bring to the table is, I think I bring that, you know, I'm the youngest person on the show, so I bring that young perspective. Like, you know, like, I mean, I'm still very active in hip hop, in the hip hop community. I play video games. I love sneaker culture. I'm a member of this organization called the Food Illuminati. We know about new snacks and secret things that are on menus and stuff like that people don't know about. So like, and so I just try to bring all my passions to the radio and just like let people know about it. Like, yo, like, you know, like there's this new artist who, you know, you need to be up on this, or like there's this new video game coming out, you need to be up on this, or like, yo, Apple just announced that they're coming out with that. I try to keep people plugged in with all that tech savvy, you know, forward thinking, trendy stuff. So what's like your official
role then?
I'm a co-host.
The co-host.
You know what I'm saying? I'm a co-host, but
it's a number of people. It's you,
yeah, it's me, it's Ebony Steele, it's Special K, it's Gary with the T, it's Rock T, it's Juicy, it's that's
a whole bunch of y'all.
It's Wu-Tang. It's like Radio Wu-Tang.
All right. Well, we got another question.
Yes.
You ready for it?
Let's go.
All right, here we go.
Hey, Headkrack. My question for you is, with the music that you listen to on the Rickey Smiley Morning Show and the music that you do with the Bodega Brothers, since they're completely different, how does that affect your solo career?
Basically, my solo music isn't really affected by what I hear on the radio. My solo music is really, it just draws from like my life stories, the things I encounter on a regular basis, and especially from a situation where like just even vibes and samples that I pick, or like the energy of records I do. I spend a lot of time going to clubs, and not even your typical like radio clubs. I go to like, you know, when like these like very niche DJs are spinning that like maybe like only like a few people in every town has heard of. Like
That's the best place.
Yeah, I went, one night I was at the sound table, and this DJ Rich Medina was spinning. He's a dude from Brooklyn, and like he just played so many great records. And when you watch, like when things are soulful and organic, when you watch what they do to a crowd when the record hits, like even a record like, you know, one of the songs I did with Bodega called the La La song, it samples Stevie Wonder's Ma Cherie Amour, because I was at this party, and when Rich Medina played Ma Cherie Amour, as soon as that la la, like it just makes people feel a certain way. So like, you know, as I make music, I try to let those things influence how our sounds come across. Like you want to make those records to where like, you know, when, you know, like where it pulls at your heart a little bit, you know what I'm saying, to where you feel a certain way about that song. Like, you know, like when certain records come on, like, you know, Michael Jackson's Human Nature, or you know, when people hear Amazing Frankie Beverly's Before I Let Go, or Enjoy Your Pain, or Happy Feeling, or Going Time of Day, those things make you feel a certain way. And there's very few records in hip hop that make you feel a certain way when you hear it. Like, you know, like when I hear like Andre 3000, She Lives in My Lab, like yeah. Or like when I hear Slick Rick's Hey Young World, you know, like certain records just do something to you. So like I try my best to like, you know, make those records that are polarizing. Like either you really love these records or you really hate these records. But hopefully it's love, because that's just the most consistent feeling that all people experience in life. You know what I'm saying? 'Cause like some people have people that they hate or they deal with adversity, but at the end of the day, everybody wants to love something, or everyone wants to be loved. You know what I'm saying? So at the core of it, it's always love. You know what I'm saying? Not necessarily making love songs, but at the core of it, it's always love. You know, pull at that heart. Give them something people can love or feel a certain way about.
This is that authentic, no gimmicks, lyrical law, organically served raw, but you don't get any more. The smart probably get it, to others is womp. Let me dumb it down a notch so you all can get involved.
One more question. You ready?
Yes, sir. Let's go.
There we go.
Hi, Headkrack. I'm a mother of 3, and my kids love to entertain. And I want to know, what kind of advice can you give to me to get my kids and mold my kids into the entertainment industry?
I mean, if you're a parent and your kids want to do entertainment, the coolest thing you could ever possibly do is just support them. Be there for them. It's hard, you know, it requires you to go to a lot of things that sometimes you may not necessarily have time for, but you got to work it out, especially if you have 3 kids. I mean, I can only imagine, you know, because like my mom just had me being busy. And then, you know, and also I was raised by a bunch of people, so like the responsibilities were a little bit doled out. But as a parent, just give your kids enough leash to hang themselves with, because like one thing that you'll never be able to match is a child's creativity. Because children, they know no boundaries. Adults, we grow up, we get serious, and you know, oh, that's a stupid idea, I'm not gonna do that. But at the end of the day, like if you're a creative person, you always have to keep a little bit of child in you. So as a parent, just let your kids be creative and do what they want to do. You know, and that doesn't mean don't parent them or don't discipline them when need be. But like, you know, just, you know, go all out for them and allow them to like chase their dreams and put them in a position where they can do that. Sometimes it can be costly, and maybe you might have to work a second job in order to pay for like, you know, headshots or equipment so they can like, you know, record music in their basement, or to take that trip so you can go on that audition. But you know, if it works out, you know, everybody benefits.
Well, that's all our time.
Well, yo, I thank y'all very much for having me.
Well, you know what? I'm glad you came. You know, I'm just, you know, trying to do this thing, and it is definitely a pleasure and an honor to have someone like yourself, you know, because, I mean, you're... Hey everybody, this is Jermaine Sain. I just want to remind you that at the bottom of your screen you can hit the like button, or if there's a thumbs up, you can hit the thumbs up. So always remember that death and life are in the power of the tongue, and continue to support indie music.